So, Tim Donahue, thank you so much. That was an awesome concert.
Thank you, Will.
Really enjoyed it. And we had, this is, I think the place where I actually first met you was in this
Yes, I think
place,
so.
the Kunitachi Music Academy.
Yeah,
When was it? It was 10, 15 years ago? A long time ago.
ages.
Yeah, ages. Yeah. So it's really fun to, again, to have maintained the friendship over the years. And also,
Absolutely.
you've evolved a lot. I guess we all do.
Yeah, I guess so.
But we were talking about doing a collaboration in the beginning. I think it was with tap dance and harp guitar. And then, but now I'm thinking that shodo would be really good for a collaboration.
Wow.
But before we get into that, I'd like to talk, just ask you a few things about the harp guitar. What's the difference? What makes it a unique instrument? Because you make them yourselves, right?
Right. Well, from a structural perspective, of course, the shape is quite different,
Yeah.
of course, from a regular guitar.
Mm.
And the overall concept is different, too, because the playing technique kind of dictates how the construction is going to be. So on a normal guitar, you know, the neck, people try to have the smallest, the thinnest neck possible because they say that's fast, they play fast. But in my guitars, I want the fattest neck possible because it has a lot to do with the tone of the instrument and
As it vibrates, the wood also
yeah,
carries it.
absolutely.
Yeah. Ah, okay.
It keeps the strings vibrating. They sustain quite a long time.
Oh, nice.
Very long time.
Oh.
Which on a normal guitar you get the nice fast neck, but then the sustain is not very long. So for guitarists, you know, the holy grail is a guitar that has a lot of sustain, but with a fast neck, and either one is a trade-off.
Yeah.
So I go for the fat neck because you don't need. So that's a big difference.
Interesting. There may be an analogy here, but we'll say in a violin or a cello, you have something called a sound post. It's a konchu, the spirit post in Japanese, that carries the sound between the front and the back of the instrument. But your instrument is not hollow, right? So the instrument itself must sustain the vibration.
Right. The whole thing's
the whole thing is a sound post in a way.
In a way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really
Good
cool.
point.
It
really
interesting.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, so is it a harp or a guitar, or is it something?
It's equally both.
Both, equally both.
Yeah.
Ah, okay.
So I couldn't.
So it's a fretless guitar with.
Well, it's got frets on it. There's this one, the one
Yeah.
we're using today, has frets. Frets. Those are the lines.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But no, it's half and half really, and that's why I didn't have a lot. I didn't design it to have a lot of harp strings because then it becomes more of a harp
Ah, okay.
than a guitar.
Okay.
I really wanted to keep the amount of extra strings, 6 strings.
Yeah.
You know, 6. I could make it as many as I want, but the more that you have, the less a guitar it becomes.
Oh, okay.
At least in my mind. So, and once I learn how to play it, I'll add more strings. You know.
Well, now you've talked a lot about, say, being able to see colors when you hear. You know, synesthesia.
Yeah.
You've had this ability for a long time.
Yeah,
Maybe
since
even
I
as
was a
kid.
child.
Oh, really, really interesting. So when you hear a tone, do you see the same color? Is it consistent, or is it just stimulates your color sense?
It stimulates the color sense.
Yeah.
But it's when I'm playing, that's when the colors are mostly, apparent.
Okay. Well, in Japanese you say "nade" or tone color. So there is a
Yeah.
sense in music of
Exactly.
visual and auditory being a crossover.
Yes, exactly. And it's
Interesting.
more pronounced with me, but
Is it different for chords? Like if you play a chord, does the color change? No.
I get asked that often, and like do the colors mix, like red and blue make purple, right? No, it's not
That's
like
not
that.
like
at
that,
all,
okay.
No. But there's textures that you see, or you perceive. You don't see them, but you perceive them. And so when I'm playing, that's what I'm. In my mind, there's colors going on there all the time. So yeah, that's a big part of. Well, it's the way I play, at least.
Yeah. Now you talked about how your inspiration is oritekuru. It just comes to you. That you don't plan it or anything.
Yeah.
And then do you actually write it out on a score?
No, the only time I write it on a score is when I have to give it to someone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So for example, after you've played it and it's been recorded, you can see what you played, and then you just.
Exactly.
So that's the improvisation, I guess.
Yeah, you could look at it that way.
Yeah, interesting.
So I don't know what I'm really. Well, as far as time signatures go, I'm not really aware of what the time signature is. So after I finish the song, and then I can go back and analyze what I've composed. So there's not so much of that going on when I'm composing. See.
I see.
And it's a good way to compose because they're more pure, I think. But I never thought of that. It's not a thought process.
Right. Well, I can kind of see how that would work really well for you as the composer or as the artist.
Right.
But how do you teach that? Because you teach classes in it, right?
Right. And it's something that's something I don't teach in the class.
Oh, okay.
Because it's not something you can really teach.
Yeah.
Unless you teach meditation. Because that's what it's about, really.
Okay.
I mean, but
could you give us some your ideas on how what meditation is to you, and as particularly as a musician?
Well, as a musician, you want to have your instrument with you because that's the tool.
Yeah.
That's your tool. And when you start playing something, it kind of feeds back upon itself. There's a cycle that happens. You kind of get inspired. I guess that's the word. And then when you
kind of a
play
dialogue
more,
with yourself.
could be. I mean, I don't really think of it as such, but you can think of it as such. But it feeds back. The sound of your instrument inspires you to play more. And when you're playing, something comes out. And it might be a mistake. You didn't plan on playing that. You might hit the wrong note. But then, if you're sensitive enough, that might become something. There's many times I hit the wrong note. I didn't mean to hit a particular note, but then I did it, and I'm glad. And I kind of think that so I might have had sloppy technique at that moment, but that led me to a place that I would not have ever gone.
Okay.
Because there would have been thought involved if I tried to add that note, outside of a meditative state process. If I tried to add that particular note that I made a mistake, it would not be it's not an intuitive thing.
So would you call it a sort of serendipitous discovery?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you weren't looking for it, but it came out, and then
It came out,
okay, that's
and
really
I accepted
cool.
it as
no,
there's something so that's what I'm trying to say is I think it comes out for a reason. It might not. It might just my hands just slipped and made the wrong note. But what you believe in. Now, if you believe that this is part of what composing is all about,
process,
there's a reason for you.
Yeah.
It's a higher reason.
Yeah.
I mean, you made a mistake, but that led to somewhere. So you could deduce that there's a reason for that. I think, I mean, I believe that, and it makes it all the more meaningful.
Well, I'm thinking as a calligrapher, there is something similar that happens there. That it's the happy accident.
Yes.
That you can't do it on purpose, but you can kind of prepare yourself for it.
There you go.
And then it's a blend of unpredictable factors: the amount of water or ink that you have, how fast you move your hand. And I often use music while I play.
Yes.
Because music inspires me.
Yes.
And maybe it's the same thing that you have with the colors.
Yes.
Because I see the strokes and the textures of the line as a musical thing, but I get it from listening to the music, and then of course it's a physical thing, moving the body. Exactly. When was watching your performance today, which I enjoyed very much. I was thinking, how could we do a collaboration? Because a song generally takes anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes. You can go a long time, but calligraphy is over in 30 seconds often. So that has been something that's been struggling with for a long time. But today I kind of got an idea. So why not put on the stage several different large pieces of paper? And it takes longer to paint a picture than it does to just do the calligraphy. And do what we call a haiga, which is a combination of a picture and calligraphy. But then make several of them and take my time as you play, and then let the kind of story emerge. And at the end, then you have the sort of combined result is listening to the music, and you can see the motion, and then you have the result, and then you tell the story.
Sounds like a good way to
think
approach
that would work.
it. Yeah. Actually, the fact that there's short pieces, short time frames to work in, makes it easier actually. Then there's not as much development within that time that you might want to develop. Separately, things can develop as one, but each individual section can be, you know, quite easy to do.
One thing that I think of when I'm doing what we call performance calligraphy is that I'm not painting it. Well, I'm painting it, but I'm not there by myself. I feel it goes better when I not forget myself completely, but I'm like one of the members of the orchestra. For example, the people who made the paper, handmade paper, the people who made the ink, the people in the audience. It's like we're all there together and doing this co-creation, which is never going to be the same. And when I think that way, it's almost like watching myself paint. And then it goes much better than if I say, okay, I'm going to do this and show you, and I'm going to make, you know, this doesn't work that well. Yeah. So maybe there's some similarity there.
Yeah, sure, for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So you would actually play better when you have an audience than when you just by yourself, maybe.
Yeah, I think there's more of there's a feedback loop that's going on there.
Yeah.
At home, when you're composing, you get a different feedback loop.
Okay.
You got the sound itself.
Yeah.
When you're playing in front of people, there's another energy there that,
yeah,
you know, it brings the music somewhere that it might not normally go.
And in both cases, you're not just by yourself. You're actually with people, with energy, with the environment, with the universe, even, and creating something in the moment. Oh, that's very inspiring.
Oh, exactly.
So, well, thank you. Well, I hope we can actually do some collaborations together.
We will. We will.
We have some really interesting stages because I think the environment's maybe some temple or shrine stages, you know.
Wow.
And of course outdoor.
Right.
So we hope you can come to Yamanashi. And
I'd love to.
yeah, that would be really great.
Yeah. Anytime.
So thank you. Well, Tim, how can you tell our listeners how people can find out more about you? So where should they go to look?
Well, if you log on to my website, that's always the best place for
which is
information. It's www.timdonahue, DONAHUE, timdonahue.com. And that's
and you have
the easiest way.
Oh, excellent. Okay, and
Yeah.
you have some published CDs and so forth as well. Can people hear your music online?
Online is a lot of people post stuff. You
Yeah.
know, so you can hear that particular music. But I don't post things from the albums. I post things from live performances.
Oh, nice.
You know, so there's more of a cross section of all the music that I've done with little pieces of live performances that you can hear.
Yeah.
But the albums themselves, I don't post anything on there.
Well, with your permission, I'll send you some of the recordings from tonight,
Well,
and
thank
then maybe then we can post some of those, and people can get a sample of your
Thank
music.
you very much, Will.
That would be great.
I mean, you are the you know,
Well, the cameraman today.
the quality expert. You know, so I
Okay,
appreciate.
super.
Yeah.
Thank you. Well, let's do this again. Thanks.
We will do it again.
Very much. Okay, good.